Well, she really needs no introduction. Megan Wargo-Kearney has been with the volleyball program for the last 5 years as associate head coach and recruiting coordinator, but you got a new title, the head coach of NC State volleyball. How has that hit you?
It's weird. I have caught myself many times saying associate head and then having to drop the head coach over the last 6 weeks. But it's hit me, and I think the neatest thing is I know where this program was 5 years ago, and I know where it is now. And we had our first team meeting 2 weeks ago, and I told the girls, hey, this is where we were, this is where we ended last year, and we're not going back there. So these are the things we're gonna do to keep along that path.
To someone that may not understand where the program was when you got here to where it is now, explain the process and the steps you guys have taken to get to the NCAA tournament last year.
When we arrived 2019, we were roughly in the mid 150s in the RPI, let's say. So ratings, power index, where they rank generally in Division I volleyball. To feel confident to go to the NCAA tournament, you have to be in that top 35 to get an at-large bid. So we ended the last year right in that window. Every year we incrementally have gotten better. And as we've grown this program, we've grown in our recruiting and brought in some different types of athletes than we've had in here, along with the teaching and the systems that we implemented over the last 5 years.
You take the baton from Luca Slabe, who was the head coach here. He's now working for USA Volleyball. What are your hopes taking the baton from Luca, and what did you learn from him that can help you as a head coach?
Every day there's something I do that I think of him. You know, I don't know that there's many things I do that don't remind me of Luca and how we built this thing together. Number one, no decision was ever too small. Everything was important. And he did a wonderful job of always involving myself and Jeremiah and the rest of our staff, or just one of us. He always included us in those decisions. It also, looking back, he was prepping me for this next step. The pieces of our program, the foundations that we're gonna teach, that our gym is a laboratory that we're gonna learn in, and never is that gonna go away. I think that's always gotta be the foundation of our program. Also, communication. We're number one. We are organized to a T, and we're gonna communicate to a T with our athletes.
One of the things I noticed about you watching practice is you talked about communication. You immediately, after a play or something, you wanted to instruct the student athlete right then, not wait and go look at the film. Why is it critical, do you believe, to instantly be able to tell someone what they did right or what they did wrong?
We have 5 new athletes in the gym right now and only returned 9 with only 2 or 3 of them having any sort of significant playing time. So right now, teaching is really important in our practice, catching them in that moment and catching them when they do things right, and more so than catching them maybe right now when they do things wrong. I think that us doing that is important. I think that maybe last year we would have pockets of time within practice, so we would actually call it uncoaching. We'd step back and we'd just let them figure it out. But we had a pretty veteran group, so I think there was moments for that. There's still gonna be moments for that with this team. I keep telling them as a joke that I want them to learn to play with their hair down. I want them to play without fear of always having that feedback or fear of always being judged. They need to learn how to just play the game, like a little bit of street ball, right? They gotta just sometimes figure it out on their own.
You've mentioned communication, you mentioned connectivity with your student athletes. I want to read a quote from former setter Naomi Cabela when she said about you, one of the things that makes Megan so special is how effortlessly she balances seeing us both as players and as people. She understands that we're human and that perspective has been instrumental in shaping the culture of this program. I think that's one of the biggest compliments you could receive as a head coach. Why do you feel it is important to not just grow them as volleyball players, but also people as well?
I texted Naomi after I saw that and told her she brought tears to my eyes. So it was really special that she said that. It's just part of me, who I am, and I know that the number one thing a coach earns is the trust of their players. And if I'm gonna get on them in practice, they need to know that I have their back at the end of the day. I've always been that way, but I think probably, especially over the past month, I've tried to be even more intentional about those relationships. So each week I'm grabbing a coffee with a player, I'm taking somebody to lunch, I'm going to be broke by the end of the semester. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But
more money in the coffee budget,
more money
please.
in the coffee budget, please. But just finding opportunities and ways to connect with them outside the gym. I have something written at the top of my notebook right now that says, "Who needs me today? Who needs me today?" And that could be texting somebody on our staff, texting one of our players, just, "How was this? How was your test? How's your grandma doing? How's whatever is going on in their lives?" It's just so important to me.
Recruiting is the lifeblood of a program. You've done amazing things on the recruiting circuit. What do you feel is your strength in recruiting, and what do you look for in a player? Maybe not just the physical part of it, but the entirety of who you're going to have as a student athlete.
Yeah, recruiting gives me juice. I like to say that's what I love talking to people. I love connecting with people. I like hearing people's stories. So I keep a big list of clubs. I keep in touch with high schools, and we make sure we have a lot of outreach to them. So I think that as recruiting has evolved over the past few years, the basis of that is not. At the end of the day, it's who you know, who you can connect with, and finding those people. There's metrics, right? Do they touch this? Are they this high? Do they jump well? Whatever. Are they a good athlete? Sure, there's those metrics. But I'm like a detective in recruiting. I'm going to go to high school coach. I'm going to go to club coach. I'm going to go to counselor in high school and find out really who that athlete is as a human being.
Final question. What is your vision for the future of this program?
Number one, to keep recruiting young women that stand for this wolf on our chest. You know, we talk every day, the wolf never comes off, and you've got to represent that and what that means. Number two, to always make the NCAA tournament, to be a mainstay. NC State, they're in the NCAA tournament. To be in that upper third of the ACC, which has not gotten any easier, adding the teams we added in the past year. And to go deep into the NCAA tournament. I think those are all important pieces to contain success and to continue rising this program to where we feel like we've gotten to.
It's been kind of a natural progression from 5 years ago to now, but you're now in the head coaching seat. Congratulations,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Always good to spend time with you.
Yes, thank you, Jeff.